Introduction. For our science fair project, we put teeth into separate jars with pickle juice, vinegar, and water to observe how these different liquids affected the teeth. Our question is, what do these different liquids do to the teeth?
Our background research was, according to Oral Health Foundation, acid food and drink can cause dental erosion. The gravel dissolving of the tooth enamel. The lower the pH number, the more acid the product. Anything with a pH value more than 5.5 may cause erosion. Vinegar has a pH of 2.0 and pickle has a pH of 3.2. For our background research, we called the dentist in Mead, and we asked some questions. Does acid affect the enamel? Dr. Hendricks said acid eats the enamel, which is the protective layer of our teeth. Once the enamel is worn away, the tooth is more vulnerable to further decay. What's a good way to protect your teeth? He said you can protect your teeth by avoiding acid or sugary food and drinks. Brush your teeth twice a day. Does acid give you cavities? And he said it could give you cavities. Then we asked, will acid make you lose teeth? He said it could, but that is not the number one reason it could.
Our independent variable is pickle juice. Our dependent variable is tooth density, and our control group is tooth and water. Our hypothesis: if we put a tooth in pickle juice and vinegar, will the density go down because of the acid? Materials: cow teeth, pickle juice, water, vinegar, gloves, jars, safety goggles, beaker, and scale.
For our instructions, our step 1 was gather pickle, juice, cow teeth, vinegar, water, and jars. Step 2 was prepare the area for testing. Step 3, measure the tooth with a scale and find the volume by measuring how much water is displaced. Gather 3 jars and add 200 milliliters pickle juice to the first jar, 200 milliliters vinegar to the second jar, and 200 milliliters tap water to the third jar, and add 1 tooth to each jar. Step 5, weigh and measure volume of the teeth every day for 5 days. And then step 6, record the measurements. For our data on day 1, the first tooth, which was the water jar, was 4 grams and the volume was 62 milliliters. For our second jar, which was vinegar, the weight was 1 gram and the volume was 65 milliliters. For our pickle juice on day 3, the weight was 1 gram and then the volume was 61 milliliters. For day 3, for water, the weight stayed the same and the volume stayed the same. For day 2, vinegar, it weighed 1 gram and the volume was 61 milliliters. For our third pickle juice, it was the same as the vinegar. For day 3, the water jar, the weight went down and the volume went up to 63 milliliters. For vinegar, the weight was 0.5 grams and the volume was 61 milliliters. Our weight for the pickle juice jar on day 6 was 0.5 grams and the volume was 61 milliliters.
For our conclusion, from the data we found that the longer the teeth stayed in the pickle juice and vinegar, the less dense the tooth became. This shows that our hypothesis was correct because we said in the hypothesis that the density would go down, and it did. Thank you for your time. Any questions?